happen. Now, at times you could be forgiven for thinking that the only battle over Brexit that really matters is within the Tory party. In truth, though, the Labour Party has been deeply divided between those desperate to reverse Brexit and those who think it's their duty to implement the result of the referendum, regardless of their own personal views about Europe. 18 Labour MPs, who represent constituencies which voted overwhelmingly to leave, want Parliament to try again to agree the basis of a cross-party deal with the EU. And they're led by Stephen Kinnock, the Labour MP for Aberafon, who joins me here on College Green in Westminster. Morning to you.
Morning, Nick.
Hasn't that horse bolted? What are you proposing today?
Well, we want to prevent a no-deal exit from the EU, and by far the least risky and most achievable way of doing that is to leave with a deal. There is a perfectly good deal on the shelf ready to go. It's the Withdrawal Agreement Bill, and let's be clear, that's a big difference between the Withdrawal Agreement Bill and the meaningful votes. The meaningful votes were a blind Brexit, if you like, a Tory Brexit. The Withdrawal Agreement Bill was generated through the cross-party talks, and it includes a number of major concessions to Labour on a customs union, on the environmental standards, on a bill on workers' rights. It's a perfectly good compromise. We should have taken the opportunity, but Parliament has never had the opportunity to debate or vote on that piece of legislation. So
you're basically taking the product of the talks between Team Corbyn and Team May and putting it to a vote. Critically,
Precisely.
Of course, the backstop is in. You've got a Prime Minister, you've got a government, you've got a Tory party that is determined to get rid of the backstop. Isn't this for appearances? You just want to be able to say to your Leave voters, I've tried.
When you boil it down, I think there's a maximum of 70 members of Parliament out of 650 who actually have a problem with the backstop. The withdrawal agreement with the backstop in received overwhelming support from Conservative members of Parliament. Labour doesn't have a problem with the backstop. We blocked previous deals because they weren't clear enough on the future relationship. Let's present to Boris Johnson a clear binary choice. If you want to leave with a deal, the Withdrawal Agreement Bill is the only game in town.
Well, it seems to me that Boris Johnson's made his choice and he's going to present it to you and other MPs later today, and you've got a simple decision. If, as is likely, you don't get your way, people don't take this up, you've got to decide, do you vote with Jeremy Corbyn, do you vote with Boris Johnson? What will you do when it comes to a vote on whether to have a snap election?
Well, my understanding is that we are going to be whipped to either abstain or vote against that, and I think that's the right thing to do because the priority has to be to prevent a no-deal Brexit. We've got to get this legislation through to prevent that, but the purpose of our amendment is actually saying, look, we don't want to be in the same place on the 4th of January as we are on the 4th of September. The country has been going round and round on this awful carousel for 3 years now. This is an opportunity to get us off that and to make some progress, give the economy and business and our communities the certainty they so desperately need.
To that extent, aren't you echoing Boris Johnson when he asked the question, what on earth would another extension achieve? What would it be for, given that over 3 years MPs haven't been able to make up their own minds?
There's certainly an element of that in our thinking on this amendment, and what we're saying is that you've got a deal on the shelf. It's ready to go. Let's make sure that we use the extension for a purpose, another open-ended extension, not in terms of date but in terms of purpose. We don't feel that's really going to serve anybody.
Stephen Kinnock, thank you.